Welcome back. I'm here with my mom, Kathy.
Hi.
And today we thought it might be fun to discuss generational differences
Okay.
of how, we grew up and some of the things that we do now because of how we were raised or in the era that we were raised in. You are from the baby boomer generation.
Yes.
And I'm technically from the beginning of the millennial generation. I'm on the cusp, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 42 and you're
70.
I just thought that would be a fun conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You were just telling me about your mom's couch. How you grew up.
So the way we grew up was pretty poor. It was me and I had three brothers.
Still have three brothers.
Well, back then I had three. I still have three. My dad worked. My mom stayed home with the kids. We had just basic stuff. I would say nothing was bought new. None of the furniture we had was new. It was probably hand-me-downs from family members or who knows where thrift stores, if they had them back there. We probably invented thrift stores in our era. We are the thrift stores. My mom, I remember, had a couch. I would say it was mid-century modern, kind of real sleek looking, and with the little wooden peg legs. But it was falling apart. And so she reupholstered it all by herself. I remember her buying all that roll of green floral fabric, stuffing and everything. And she figured out how to do it, did the nails, of the upholstery nails. And she did a good job on it. But that's what we did back then. I remember I had my dad's dresser from when he was a little boy, and it was wood of some kind, and the sides were kind of carved over. And I remember getting that dresser, and it had a matching desk. And then I remember them saying, "This is your dresser now." So I myself took it out there and sanded it down. I think I painted it white the first time, and I was probably, 10 or so. And then I had that forever. And then when I got older, probably 14 or so, I stripped it down again. I put that stuff on that bubbles up and scraped it. And then I did green. That's when
green was in.
Yeah, it was in the 70s. Green, that olive green was in. I painted the whole thing again, olive green. So I had that desk until, I was probably in my early 20s. I finally got rid of it. Yeah, so we just kept passing down the same piece of furniture.
Lasted through the centuries.
Yeah, it was from, he was born in 35, so he probably got that as a child. Yeah.
I feel a lot of young people start out that way because your parents were very young when they had you guys.
20. Yeah.
And so when you're really young, you start out with secondhand things.
Right.
Even my generation mostly starts out with secondhand, handed down things.
Yeah.
But where I think that ends is with my generation is when people start making a little more money. There are so many affordable things out there now compared to back then.
Right. I know people who were really into switching it up. Whatever the trend was, Southwestern, Roman, big gaudy thing with gold tassels.
So even your generation went from being more of the reuse and all that into the switch it up.
Probably as our generation hit the 40s and they started making money, then people I know would every at least 5 years would just remodel their whole houses. I never did that. I bought one thing. I still have it.
She still has it. Let me tell you.
That same kitchen dining room, that little kitchenette set.
I don't see anything wrong with switching things around.
No, there's no right and wrong.
There is no right and wrong. It's just a different generational thing.
It's a trend. It's a trendy thing.
I thought it would be fun to compare how you grew up and how you were parented as opposed to how I was parented.
Oh, okay. Well, you were parented perfectly is all I got to say about that. You were an only child and I had three brothers. So there was a lot of us and very lack of parenting. We were pretty much on our own, other than going to school, but summers and stuff, we woke up and we hit the road and we went bottle hunting, me and my three brothers, well, two of my brothers, the other one was younger, but we'd just go out for the whole day and ride our bikes and do stuff and come back at dinner time. Nobody wondered where we were. Nobody cared if we were thirsty.
There were no phones.
If we were thirsty, we went up to a house, grabbed the hose and took a drink out of someone's hose. No, nobody cared. They knew no one wanted us.
You had me scheduled a lot into a lot of activities, after school activities and summer camp and all kinds of. Being an only child, you got to keep them entertained. I also had a lot of friends that I would go to their house and with their families and all of that. So I feel you really knew where I was all the time.
Always.
There was no, where is she?
And she was always saying, well, my friends are going, come with us, Mom. I'd always, a lot of times I'd be the driver, and I was happy to do that.
I do remember one time when you forgot me at one of the after school Christian, whatever it was.
Yeah, like Bible study
study school. And you left me there.
Well, you always stayed there till I think 7. And Dad and I were just having a nice dinner and just talking. And all of a sudden the phone rings. It's, hello, this is the whoever in charge at the school. Shannon's here. She's the only one left. Did you forget her? I go, she'll be right there. Yes, we forgot.
And I said, how did you forget me? She said, I don't know. I just thought you were upstairs sleeping.
I know. You're so quiet. I forgot you were at school. Now we're taking a moment to tell you about this week's favorite item.
It is the Green Pan non-stick skillet. And if you know a little bit about what's happening in my house right now, we have our kitchen under renovation. And I just wanted to mention that we've been using this non-stick electric skillet by Green Pan. This is just an affiliate link that I'm going to put down in the description box in case you also need a really good electric skillet for cooking or whatever, camping is what my mom said.
Yeah.
We're going to take it camping with us.
Yes, because
we'll have electricity.
This year we're going to have a trailer with a plug-in. It's going to have electricity, so we're going to bring this in.
So we're excited.
Yes.
And I just want to mention this because it's something that has been really helpful this week and the last few weeks to do all of our cooking. And back to the video. I feel now my parenting style, you can comment on this because you see it live, is a little bit in between the two things. We have a neighborhood full of fun kids and everything's fun out there. And I just let them go outside and go play. I don't really micromanage what they're doing, and they know to stay close. But if they want to go to the park, I say, okay, you can go to the park, but come right back or whatever. Let me know.
Go as a group.
Go as a group. I have a pretty laid back parenting style. I don't know if you agree with that or not. I don't do a lot of structured activities. Right. A lot of people set up group fun things for their kids to do. I don't really do a lot of that.
They have each other, and that keeps them entertained. You're lucky. You didn't have a sibling, so I was your friend.
Primary.
So you're like, Mom, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's make some clothes. We were always doing something. It got tiring. Like, I just want to do that. I'm happy just sitting here.
Being a mom now, I know how tiring that is because
it was always, let's do a craft. She'd go get everything out of the closet, all the sewing stuff.
Here. I have it right here.
Oh my gosh, look how crafty she was.
I saved it. She was going to throw it away.
I know, I was clearing out.
I said, I just want to show my kids this cool thing I made, which was a frame. I was probably 10 years old.
She drew that picture of me
I drew this picture of my mom
from a photo,
and I glued all these doodads, and this is the kind of stuff that I did.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when I turned 18, I moved out, which we could. You can get an apartment with a friend. I was out of there, and but when you grew up, you were still dependent on us because...
Well, it was way harder.
It was harder, yeah.
I did move out, though. I went to college for 4 years, so I didn't live with you guys. I was living at college.
Right.
But you were supporting that whole thing.
Right. Yes, so you had a taste of being independent. Yeah, you fed yourself.
Yeah, I moved completely out.
Yes, you did.
I was on my own, doing all my own banking and all that kind of stuff by myself.
You were independent like that, yes.
But yeah, I didn't own my own house or anything.
No, but you worked part-time at the school.
And that's something we can talk about, which is it's way harder nowadays.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's so expensive now. Kids can't move out. Before, with a friend, you can get an apartment for $100 a month and have a job and
make ends meet. But now I don't think you can. No. Even back then, which would have been around 2000, probably 3.
Yeah.
I was finished with college. I was going back home, not living in the dorms anymore, which to me was just the worst thing on earth, to have to move back home and live with your parents again. I did not want to be there just as much as they probably didn't really want me there. The problem was I went and found a full-time job where I made, I think, $7 or $8 an hour.
Yeah.
And adding all the math up and everything, I went and looked for places to rent, which would have just been renting one room in a house with people I didn't even know.
Like us.
I would never be able to afford it. I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Between that, food, and all the other things I would have to buy just to make it for one person. And back then I couldn't afford it. I can't even imagine what it is now, how hard it would be.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge difference, is back then you guys kind of were pushed out of the nest at 18.
Yes.
And we were pushed out at 20 to 23, 4. And then probably now I'm assuming kids are being pushed out at 30. I'm not sure.
And then they come right back.
I'm not sure, but
because nobody can afford it.
And Grant and I are already discussing, we just assume they're probably going to live with us for a long time to try to get money together and all that. So that's a huge generational difference that we notice. You told me you learned everything from friends and family. There was no
there was a big
Google.
Book. There was a big book somewhere, but wasn't going to read it.
How to parent.
Yeah, how to parent. But she'll be grown by the time I read that book. Yes, I learned a lot of stuff from my friends who were having children, and a lot of things passed down too, which was helpful.
Do you think you learned a lot from your mom?
Yeah, what not to do.
My mom, a nice lady, but
she was nice, but you were going to be raised completely different from the way I was raised. And I made that, I still think that today I will be a different person because she had no experience. Neither did I, but.
Well, she was a really young mom. She was 17, right? When she had her brother.
Right. So she was young.
So she was really young.
By the time she was 25, she had 4 children.
I remember when I was turning 25 and you looked at me and said, by the time Grandma was 25, she had already had all 4 of us.
Yeah.
All 4 kids. And that just really clicked in my head thinking that was crazy to me because to me at 25, I really didn't think that was possible. I don't know. I don't know how she could have done it.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there going, I had, it's just.
But it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work.
I think it's a lot now.
I do too.
At my age.
Yeah, your age is a lot.
You think it's a lot to even come here and watch it.
Yes, then I leave when it gets too crazy.
Even though I had the internet and books and everything when I had my first son, I still feel a lot of really great tips came from you, came from people that I talked to, friends, family, and everything, cousins that had kids already. They would give me their advice. And I remember one time when I was like freaking out because Emmett wouldn't stop crying. He was one of those kids that cried all the time when he was a newborn. And I remember you said, put him in the crib and walk away. And I'm like, I can't, he won't stop screaming. And you're like, just set him in the crib and walk away. And I'll never forget because he fell asleep. And I was like, he's sleeping. I can't believe it.
I know, that's what people tell you. Oh, God.
You told me that. You said, just give yourself a break. Just set him down in the crib. He's safe.
Put some earplugs in.
You said he's safe. Walk away for a minute. And he actually just fell asleep. And it was like incredible.
Yeah.
Let's talk about technology with our different generations. It must be kind of weird for you because you grew up before there were cars. No, I'm just kidding. You grew up when there was no internet, no cell phone, I kind of had a little of that, but for you, you grew up way before any of that was even.
Right. When I grew up, we had black and white TVs, and then we went to color, and then eventually it morphed to bigger TVs and then big screens. But the cell phone thing, I didn't get one for a long time. And then when I first got it, it was a flip phone. Everybody had phones but me, and I said, if you want to talk to me, you call me on my home phone. And then people would try sending me texts and
to the landline.
I mean, I don't know what it was doing, but people would get frustrated with me. So I got a cell phone that was a flip phone. And then people would still text me, and I would call them up and say, please don't text me. I don't do text. I don't know how to do text. It was really hard to do it. You had to like push things up and down. It was just too much. I said, just call and talk to me. And then finally I got a flat phone or whatever you call them.
iPhone or
smartphone. That's the word.
Yeah.
And I finally learned how to text. And now the problem with that is now I don't talk to anybody anymore. I hardly even talk to you. We just text most of the time.
Sometimes. I mean, we talk a lot.
You're the only person I really spend a lot of time talking to, you and Dad. Everything's texting now, which I feel is
impersonal maybe.
Yeah, impersonal and lonely. Like you don't really talk to people.
I think it can be
I just think it's sad for the generation because we grew up. I'd call my girlfriends. We'd sit and talk on the phone when I was younger all night.
Well, it's interesting because I grew up on the cusp of that. So when I was a kid, I did not grow up with a cell phone either.
Right.
But I grew up with the home phone where we would talk, as you said, for hours. And you would pick up the phone and say, get off the phone. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, I gotta go.
Or come up, dinner time.
Yeah. And I remember that. And I didn't get my first flip phone when you did. We both got them at the same time. I was 18 because I was moving to college. That's when I got it.
Right. Okay.
So before that, I didn't have one, which I think they were pretty new then anyways.
Yes.
But I do remember you telling me all the time, don't text me, just call me. It's too confusing. And okay. And I think at the time, the plan back then too was more expensive if we text. Like we were charged per text, something weird.
Yes.
But it's interesting because even in my lifetime, up to 18, I pretty much didn't grow up with any social media.
Right.
No internet.
That's when MySpace or something started.
MySpace started. When I was in college, it started.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think Facebook started then, which was just so interesting to me, like how quickly that has all changed.
Oh, yeah.
In 20 years, now that's the way I make my full-time living.
I know. Who would
have ever thought that? I would have never thought that.
I know.
And I have to limit myself as well. I do not have a lot of apps on my phone, and because I just find for me, it can be very distracting. Mm-hmm. You can become kind of addicted to it, where you're constantly checking. And so I really want to live in the real world. And I'm not saying that I don't go online because that's my whole life is online, but I do try to set limits for myself because it can be hard.
It's definitely handy, having the technology. We used to have to pull out the big yellow pages, look through appliance store and call them up. Do you have any white refrigerators? But now, it's just,
you can look things up and you can.
I don't know. I think we got along fine without it though. I
do wonder if it's going to be the downfall.
It already is.
They're saying AI.
But that's just my opinion. Way less stressful back then than it is now, I think.
Because of the technology, I think it's just a case of things moving so much faster. Mm-hmm. And that's what helps add the stress, in my opinion. That's how I feel. And my son, who is now 11, going to be 12 soon.
Next week.
A lot of his friends already have phones, and I understand why, because as a parent, you want to know where your kid is, you want to know what's going on. But I told him, you are not getting a phone until you have a job and you can pay for it. That's number one.
Start mowing lawns.
Exactly. And I said, the other thing is I would be willing to get him a flip phone, which would be just a way for him to be able to call me in case there's an emergency or something. And that I would feel okay with that, but I don't think I would feel okay with just giving him access to the whole internet here. Here's the whole internet.
No.
But you didn't really have to worry about that because phones did not exist when I was a kid.
Right. There
was no cell phone.
No. We just made plans. Mm-hmm. We planned to I'll pick you up here or there.
And if you're not there.
Yeah, you better be there.
Yeah, Woody's going to be kicked into the next.
That was simple. You just made plans.
If you could whisper one sentence to your 25-year-old self, what would it be? Comment below. What would you whisper to your 25-year-old self?
Only date good-looking, very wealthy men. Don't waste your time on the guys at the bar.
On the losers.
Go direct. Don't waste your time.
I would tell my 25-year-old self that it's a little deeper than the guy thing, but that does apply as well. But I would also say, just don't worry so much about where you are and how far along you are at 25, because a lot can change in 1 year, 2 years. A lot of things could happen. At 25, I felt really, really lost. And by the time I was 27, I was getting married, moving here, and all these things were happening. So you could feel really behind. And then like a year later, so much can improve or change.
No, 25 was great. I was single and disco was in. My friends and I would go disco dancing on Friday night, Saturday night. 25 was great.
I would say just enjoy being 25. And that's what I'm trying to say. Don't stress so much.
Right.
So much about the fact that you aren't married yet, don't have kids, don't have a house. Like, try to enjoy where you're at in that moment. That's what I would tell myself.
Yeah.
With the decluttering topic, how do you feel your generation, when you grew up and kind of your younger years, what made you want to hold on to more things compared to how I feel, which is usually like, I don't want it, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something that went into that?
Yeah, because my grandparents and my parents who passed things down to me, they didn't have a lot of stuff like we do now. It's easy to get furniture and dishes and all that now, but back then it wasn't so easy. So they treasured it and they had a value on it, whether it was a real value, but maybe it was an emotional value. But that was passed on. A lot of it was passed on to me. And then I still have pieces that I treasure because, well, it can't be replaced, and it has some emotional connection. I have a desk that was my grandmother's when she was young, and I still have it and still use it. So I don't think there's a lot of that anymore for people. I don't think people inherit things and that has a lot of family history to it. And I choose to keep most of it, some of it, but I didn't keep all of it. I think
just what you use.
So I think it's harder for me, people my generation, to let go of things.
And I think also we were even raised to a degree without seeing that part of it. Like you were raised with your grandparents, seeing them keep all that stuff, where I think we were raised with you guys actually kind of siphoning through a little bit more than the previous generation. So we see that as, okay, that's okay.
It's okay.
Switch it around and switch it out when it's not cool anymore or whatever.
And I really didn't start doing it until maybe 10 years ago.
And didn't do it that much.
No.
But we just saw it more in general. And now we see it even more with internet and all, online. We see people constantly switching things in and out and updating things. So I think it's just what you see, you think that's what you do. And I think also growing up, seeing homes that had a lot of stuff in them, maybe that's what's made our generation, to a degree, not everybody, want to be a little more minimal.
Right. Because
it's a little overwhelming.
The modern stuff, the modern pictures, Better Homes and Gardens is a beautiful, simple, everything's just a vase of flowers. It's really pretty. Where if you look back at the 50s and 60s homes, they had everything everywhere.
It's just interesting how it's changed a little bit. And I think that's maybe why our generation is more into the decluttering and getting rid of, and why it might be a little bit harder for your generation.
Yeah, it's definitely hard for my generation.
I think
to let things go.
At least reading the comments, I think there's a big group of people who struggle with it. Not everybody. Some people do not have that problem. But it can be hard sometimes.
It is.
I have no idea if you liked this topic and this discussion or not. And we are looking for more topics to cover.
Yes.
So if you have any ideas or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section down below. We would love to hear from you. If you are new here, you can join our email list. I send out one email every single week letting you know about the current videos and things that are going on. If you're new to the channel, you can hit the subscribe button to join, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye-bye. Bye.